Welcome to InnoCity Analysis, where we explore the forces shaping our urban landscape. The whole idea we are discussing is the relationship between entrepreneurship, innovation, and cities. Today, we're exploring an important and forward-looking piece of research titled The Future of Entrepreneurial Ecosystem Research Toward a Policy-Oriented Research Agenda. Entrepreneurial ecosystem research, often called EE research, has been one of the more exciting developments in entrepreneurship studies over the past decade. It has reshaped how we think about supporting entrepreneurs, building innovation hubs, and designing economic policies. But here's the central problem. Even though we now have a growing body of EE research, the gap between theory and actionable Policymakers are eager for insights, but they often find that academic studies don't provide practical, ready-to-use tools. This paper addresses that gap. It was written by 12 authors who collaborate closely, and it draws on the insight of 58 experts who participated in a 3-day EE research in Germany in 2025. Together, they critically reflected on how entrepreneurial ecosystem research can better align with the needs of policy and practice. Let's unpack the main ideas. First, the paper reminds us of where EE research comes from. Over the last decade, it has grown rapidly, inspired by practical questions from scholars like Daniel Eisenberg and by global initiatives such as the World Economic Forum's that work on entrepreneurship. It has helped expand the definition of entrepreneurship, provided insights into local and regional growth, and given us new perspectives on how entrepreneurs connect with their environments. Articles have examined EE configuration, the link between ecosystem and economic outputs, and the resilience of entrepreneurial communities. However, while policymakers and governance quickly adopt the language of ecosystems, their actual policies often moved faster than the research. As a result, despite the popularity of the concept, many EE-inspired policies haven't led to major changes in economic development practices. The authors of this paper argue that it's time for EE research to be more policy-oriented, not just conceptually interesting. To do that, they propose a future research agenda that places policymaking at its center. This agenda was validated by European policymakers, ensuring that it reflects real-world needs. So what does this agenda look like? There are a few key elements. Context-specific policies. Entrepreneurial ecosystems are not one-size-fits-all. They are shaped by local economies, cultural and historical contexts, rather than copied from one city or country to another. A comprehensive toolkit. Policymakers need more than just economic measures like growth or job creation. Effective policies should also consider education, technology, infrastructure, and inclusiveness. This broad approach ensures that societies as a whole benefit from entrepreneurship, not just a select group. Multi-level focus. Entrepreneurial ecosystems operate at many levels: individuals, organizations, regionals, national, and even global. EE research should help policymakers understand these layers and how they interact, so policies can be designed with the bigger picture in mind. Process orientation. The authors emphasizes that we need to look not just at outcomes, but at the process of the policy making itself, from design and implementation to monitoring and evaluation. By studying the entire policy cycle, researchers can provide more practical guidance and ensure that ecosystems evolve in productive ways. The big idea here is that entrepreneurial ecosystems are complex, adaptive systems. They self-organize, they evolve, and they depend on interactions between many actors: entrepreneurs, investors, universities, governments, and communities. Because of this complexity, policy interventions must be designed carefully, using insights from research that takes into account both structure and process. The authors argue that only by embedding policy considerations into the heart of EE research can the field achieve its full potential. This means building bridges between scholars and policymakers, generating actionable, ensuring that ecosystems contribute not just to entrepreneurship, but to broader social and economic well-being.